This is Maine. We have lady tow truck drivers. I've certainly referenced a few times that I'm from Maine. I guess I brag about that fact, you know, because Maine's this elusive state up in the corner that most people think is Canada. And so I just started thinking of some of the adventures I had growing up as a stir-crazy kid in Maine, trying to find my way and get into any sort of vehicular shenanigans that I could. So of course, the most notorious ones were the ones with the Crown Vic, but there were some other equally fun ones as well. And one of them related to the Crown Vic was there was just one time that a friend of mine, his parents owned like a construction company or something, so they had their own gravel pit. And not a lot of people know what a gravel pit is, and they ask, what's a gravel pit? I'm like, it's a friggin' gravel pit. Like, that's just what it is. It's like this huge, massive sand pit where construction companies go to get their gravel and sand and all that. But they had all these roads running through it, and I mean, they must have had thousands of acres. And so basically had our own built-in rally course. And they also had this old beater, like Cadillac limo. And so we went out and we were rally racing through the gravel pit with the limo and the Crown Vic. Pretty sure one of us was like riding on the trunk or hanging off the sunroof of one of the cars, or, you know, just doing ridiculous stuff, sliding around. But we decided to try to jump the limo, which is always a fantastic idea. That's what you do with a long wheelbase car. And we thought, okay, we're gonna jump it over this like road thing because there's a ramp up to the road, and that's easy. We can clear a single lane road. And there was probably 6 or 7 of us in the limo. No seat belts, of course. And so we go at it full bore, probably got up to, I don't know, like 25 miles an hour. And we got about halfway over and the front wheels cleared, but the rest of the limo didn't. So we literally just landed on the frame on the crown of the road and high centered it and just stuck, just done. It definitely kind of hurt. That was a hard landing, no cushion. But I think that was just about the demise of the limo. My first car, and one I was very, very proud of, was a Ford Taurus SHO. That stands for super high output, in case you didn't know that. And it had a Yamaha V6 motor with dual intake runners, one for torque, one for just dumping air in under high RPM. It was the first production vehicle to have a Yamaha built motor in the car. 5-speed manual, green. I loved this car and I wanted everybody to know it. And probably my demise was finding out that Conan O'Brien had like the identical car. So of course that gave me license to be like, yeah, my car's actually cool because Conan had one. And I would try to street race everybody and would street race most people. But the problem is street racing in Maine is way different than most people think of it, because we don't have a lot of 4-lane roads, and definitely none of them are straight. So street racing up there is picking a back road and following each other and basically just seeing who either wrecks first or gives in or whatever. So we'd be going down these back roads that, you know, 25-mile-an-hour speed limit and just flying. I mean, blind corners, really, really stupid stuff. Looking back, you know, I read articles about these teenagers who street race and, you know, hit a tree and kill them and their girlfriend or whoever, and like it breaks my heart because I'm like, that so easily could have been me. I mean, we were doing really stupid stuff. I didn't know what my tire pressures were, what the date code were on the tires. You know, I didn't check the brake pads. You know, I thought I was a race car driver because I went to Skip Barber, but I really had no idea what I was doing. I mean, we'd come off some of these roads with brakes just smoking, you know. None of us ever got hurt. I remember racing a Pontiac Fiero GT down a road one time, you know, because that was like one of the coolest cars around. I remember I was with my girlfriend and I think I passed him at probably like 70 miles an hour as we were passing her parents' house. And I'm just like, man, if they only knew. The best story, I guess, involved my uncle's 1968 GTO, which he still has and is actually giving to one of his daughters shortly as she's getting ready to graduate college. So he was moving from Vermont to Maine, and he had to transfer all his cars. So I helped them move, and somehow the logistics happened such that the GTO ended up at my family's house, which I was totally okay with, because he's like, if you guys keep it in the garage, you can use it whenever you want, whatever. I'm like, abso-frickin-lutely. So of course I took him up on that, and it was a convertible, which was even better. So I took this thing to youth group one night, and I thought I was just the coolest thing since sliced bread. I took a couple friends out for a ride, and we just, you know, and got back to the church, and coolant is just spraying everywhere. I mean, half a gallon puddle on the ground. Not knowing what it is, like what actually went wrong, but just knowing that big coolant leak probably means a hose popped, something's wrong with the radiator, you know, whatever, that's a bad sign. I called the tow truck. Of course, that deflated my ego like Tom Brady's footballs. This is Maine, we have lady tow truck drivers. And she loaded it up and gives me a ride back to the house. Now, on the way back, though, she's calling all of her friends. I got this frickin' GTO in the back of my truck yet. Ain't gonna believe it, Sonny. Bragging about what she has on the back of her truck, about this GTO, this and that, and I'm just sitting in the passenger seat going, oh my gosh, my uncle's gonna kill me, my uncle's gonna kill me. So we get it dropped off back to the house, and I call my uncle and explain to him what happened, and he just starts laughing. And I'm like, okay, what? He goes, you idiot, it's just the coolant expansion tank. If you like hammer on it when the car's still cold, it's just, it goes into the overflow tank, and you just, you know, you expanded the coolant too much and it just came out the top of the overflow tank. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I had it towed for that. So I got a humbling in more ways than one on that experience, but thankfully there's nothing actually wrong with the GTO. A month or so later, I was reading the local police blotter, the local paper, and there was an article about this lady who had gotten a DUI in her tow truck, and it was the exact same lady that had the GTO. It's like, awesome, classy. Welcome to Maine.